What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. Today, very excited to bring you guys our first Madden 26 realistic rebuild. And what team more perfect to do that and kick this series off with than the Tennessee Titans. The 1-5 Titans just recently filed their head coach. And really, even that 1-5, that one in that 1-5 is like the worst win, most undeserving win out of all the games that have happened so far this season. I remember watching the end of that game. I couldn't, like, the Cardinals could not have tried to lose any worse, and the Titans still barely just beat them. So at 1-5, things are looking terrible for the Tennessee Titans. So I feel like if we're doing realistic rebuild, it's best spot, best starting point. Now, if you don't know what a realistic rebuild is, well, a couple years ago, I decided that rebuilds could be done a little bit differently. What if instead, and this was at a point in time when there wasn't custom draft classes, we used realistic college players and took those players from the draft and get to see what they look like in today's NFL. So what we're going to do is, starting out for our realistic rebuilds, I only have a 2026 class. There's no 2027 class on the roster share that looks good. My tried, tested, and true roster creator that I like using on console is Sports Gaming Rosters. If you like this draft class, go check out his YouTube channel. Literally, that's all you type in. Sports Gaming Rosters. You'll see all his content. Go support it. He's a very important person to have in the franchise mode community, especially on the console side of things. You know, eventually we may move to PC, because when you get the PC mods going, you get like the real college player portraits and stuff like that. But his draft classes are top notch every year. So what I did is I downloaded his 2026 class. I made a couple changes, but it's still 90% his draft class. So if you do like what you see, you do like the players you want to utilize and start using a realistic draft class, you can't find the best one. I cannot co-sign this one enough. Unfortunately, there was a delay in his 2027 class, and I know all about it, man. I used to, like, from scratch, start these draft classes. It would take 2 weeks of, like, all my free time creating and editing them, so I appreciate and understand how difficult it is to get these out. But unfortunately, there's no 2027 class yet. When that does drop, I'll check it out, and we likely will move to a 2026, 2027, 2 draft classes per realistic rebuild. But I've been patient at this point. I just want to get in. I want to start rebuilding the way that I love to rebuild, and that is with realistic players. So I feel real good about the player pool here. I don't think there's really anybody that we're missing that currently has a whole lot of hype that could realistically go in this year's draft class. And as we go through these rebuilds, you'll become more and more familiar with these players, and I'm ready to go. Now, in relation to the Titans, we haven't really done a roster breakdown yet, but I think positions of need, we could look at running back long-term, like Jeremiah Love, Nicholas Singleton. You got Jonah Coleman, Damon Clay. It is a nice running back class, to say the least. Wide receiver is another position where maybe you make the argument it's not the strongest wide receiver class, but with Calvin Ridley still really being the top go-to target for Cam Ward, a wide receiver might need to be a priority for us to kind of go get that long-term wide receiver one that's going to grow and develop alongside Cam Ward. I feel like our offensive line is pretty good from the exterior. I think we have our tackles, we have a guard, but centers up there. And actually, it's a pretty good center class. Like, all the draftable centers are legitimate, absolute ballers. We could look at one of the guard positions here or there. Defensively, pass rush certainly could be in play. We got a couple big-time players: TJ Parker, Keldrick Falk, David Bailey, Dennis Sutton. We have Rueben Bain, Uyunglele, those guys. Cassius Howell's having a huge year for Texas A&M. Tackle machine. Just saw him firsthand against my Gators last weekend. Like, there's dogs there. So we're going to be able to go out and improve our pass rush if we need to. D-tackle room is solid. There's depth to this room, led by Peter Woods from Clemson. The linebacking core is another area that we honestly could improve the middle of our defense. So you have Lawson from Bama, Arvell Reese from Ohio State, who actually I literally just added to this class right before we hit the record button. Anthony Hill, kind of a little bit of a down year from Texas, looked like a consensus first rounder, but he's still legit. CJ Allen from Georgia, Sonny Styles from Ohio State, Harold Perkins, Torian York, Perkins here again, Jacob Rodriguez. Like, there are a lot of good linebackers, so I think we probably would be trying to lead the draft with at least one of them. Secondary, there's players that are studs. It's a really good corner class. Maybe the one thing I didn't love about this class is, like, maybe, if you're looking at guys that could be third round, too many corners within our top 100, but, there's good players here. Really, really good players. And I'll be honest, Mansour Delane from LSU, the transfer, has looked incredible this season. At safety, you got Caleb Downs. We could certainly enter the Caleb Downs sweepstakes depending on how high of a draft pick we end up having, which At 1-5, the draft pick will probably be pretty high. But it is a good class. I hope you guys go support sports gaming rosters. Utilize this class. Tell them C4 sent you and say we appreciate all his work. Now, I think to kind of just quickly break down the roster and where my vibes are at. Offensively for the Titans, I think Latham and Skoronski on the offensive line. Those are two guys we should be able to rely upon. We have Zeitler at 89, but he's injured right now, so it's... The rest of the O-line looks very replaceable. We have Okonkwo and Helm at tight end. Maybe we see what kind of value we can get from Okonkwo here ahead of the trade deadline, just because Helm with the dev trade, if we can get him out on the field, you know, he might have an arguably higher ceiling than Okonkwo. Same with, like, if someone gives us something for Calvin Ridley, we could entertain that. I think one of Pollard and or Spears needs to go. I think when we did our first Titans rebuild, I did end up trading Tony Pollard. Didn't really work out, to be honest with you. But I think ahead of the trade deadline, that's probably like a Tony Pollard trade would be maybe the most realistic option, especially with this a lot of teams right now in the league hurting at running back. Ao Manor, the rookie, the Canadian, has kind of shown flashes as a rookie. DK as well, maybe more so on special teams in his case. But he's sitting here as a 75 dev trade player. We can work and grow with that. But the issue right now of fire selling some of these players, especially on the offensive side of the ball, is we do not want to stunt Cam Ward's growth more than it already is. We're not a good offense. Where is making this offense a lot worse for a couple more fourth-round picks going to help the development of Cam Ward here in this rookie campaign. 75 star dev. And I've watched a couple Titans clips and highlights and stuff like that. I'm not going to say I've sat down and watched Titans games. I'm not that much of a psychopath. But what I've seen out of Cam Ward still looks like more good than bad. He's just trying to make chicken salad out of the chicken shit that is the Titans offense. But you have to be maybe slightly worried as a Titan fan. Like, is this team so bad that it's going to, like, permanently stunt his growth? Like, he's going to learn bad habits this rookie campaign. Like, probably that's why they fired the coach and moved on. So as you can see, the top corner, I went with a guy that may get the job next year, Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills, and it's going to be his job to save, develop Cam Ward, and figure out the rest of this offense. Defensively, on the discussion of trading before the deadline, a couple guys here or there that could be in that discussion. I think L'Jarius Sneed makes a lot of sense. 80 superstar. He's kind of been underwhelming since they brought him over in free agency from the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff Simmons is absolutely one of our best players at 28 years old. His value will never be higher if we decide we need to sell him. But, I don't want to completely gut anybody. I will maybe see what kind of offers exist for Jeff Simmons, but I got to be blown away. Because if not, even at 28, say we're in year 5 and we're starting to be, he'd still be what? Like probably like an 86, 87 in that range. Like that's still going to be, he could still be a valuable piece for us come that time of the rebuild. I mean, outside of that, in terms of like players I feel good about, Devondre Sweat's a beast. Roger McCreary solid. We got the rookie Winston, 73 with a dev trade out of Penn State. Oladejo, 76 with a dev trade pass rusher out of UCLA. Certainly looks good. Gray could maybe develop into a linebacker for us. Hooker's still solid, even though, he's getting slowly up there in age. He probably doesn't have a super high ceiling remaining, but he's a solid player that I don't have to worry about. And having guys that I just don't have to worry about is an absolute check mark for this absolutely terrible Tennessee Titans roster. We'll say I'm kind of surprised no team wants to offer us for Will Levis. Thought there might be some value there. I'll be honest, I remember, like the big trade we made in our first Titans just regular rebuild is I did trade Tony Pollard. I didn't like that decision. Looking at the players that we can get in return for Tony Pollard, I'm thinking we keep him here. For this trade, I am thinking I'm going to send Calvin Ridley back to Atlanta. I think it's going to be more beneficial for this team if, like, our wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, we go Ao Manor, we go DK with that dev trait to just see where they can land, versus Ridley, who's got to hit regression pretty early. Dorless is 71, second-year player out of Oregon. We get a future 4th and 7th round pick. I think that's going to be worth it because that is 2027. That's going to be a generated draft class, and those 3rd and 4th round picks in generated draft classes, we can do a lot of damage there. Surprisingly, no offers for Okonkwo, but after moving on Ridley, we're keeping Paul, we'll keep Okonkwo, got to keep some weapons around Cam Ward. With Kevin Zeitler returning to the lineup, just had to Google it, we are going to send him to the Philadelphia Eagles, who I can say is an Eagle fan, right guard with Tyler Steen, losing Mekhi Becton has been an issue. Offensive line, if you don't watch Eagles, you probably know at least Saquon Barkley sucks. Jalen Hurts is getting hit more than he ever has. That right guard spot is certainly a cause for a red flag. So with Kevin Zeitler, that is a rental. You might get 2 years out of him, but 89 overall, he's literally, the 3rd highest right guard in the league. but we don't need him on a 1-year rental. So get whatever value we can get. So we threw in a 6th and a 7th, and Philly was willing to pay a 3rd and a 4th this year. Now the Philly Eagles have 2 third-round picks, 2 fifth-round picks, so that kind of made maybe that 3rd and the 4th a little more expendable, maybe toeing the line of getting too much value. But I would say if you get 2 years out of Zeitler, it doesn't just retire after this season, which I have seen happen, that's actually more fair value. If he's just a 1-year rental, maybe they overpaid a little bit. Now, at least just entertaining what we could get for Jeffrey Simmons. I actually don't hate this trade at all. I think the 2nd round pick probably overdoes it, but I mean, that is way down. That's a 3 in 2 years' time. But like Cincinnati doesn't need all that money tied up on the offense. They desperately need help defensively. T. Higgins at 26, 88 superstar could absolutely be our wide receiver 1 for Cam Ward to go and develop. I mean, obviously, we don't need a tackle. Don't really need a guard that bad. There's another deal. Obviously, George Pickens won't be getting traded twice in 1 year. But I'll tell you right now, I know George Pickens is a contract year. If the Cowboys don't pay him, we would be very aggressive in trying to get George Pickens on the open market. Jalen Waddle, that doesn't make sense. Miami's in their own right of trying to fire sale. It does seem like things aren't well with Ayuk and the 49ers. Ayuk trying to come back from injury, and the fact that we could get a 2nd, 3rd as well next, like this coming draft, would be pretty insane. Jets trade, I mean, that again, that's just they're too far. Fire sale teams aren't going to be selling to other fire sale teams. Say flower. I mean, there's good value here for Jeffrey Simmons. I would say this Bengal one is the most interesting, but ultimately I think we'll just keep Simmons. And the only trade we're going to have a player really, coming back that we feel good about, the Detroit Lions are desperate for corner help. So L'Jarius need 80 superstar win now move for a Detroit Lions team that wants to go compete for a Super Bowl. We're able to get a 4th round pick next year. I'd like to get one this year, but that kind of just wasn't filling up that green bar enough. And we're going to be able to get Malcolm Rodriguez, old Rodrigo from the Hard Knocks days. Linebacker 4 there right now, 3-4, kind of a spot starter. He'll be a full-time starter, every down player for us, 78-26 with a dev trade. So for us, we're going to go with the rookie Jackson Slater at the right guard spot that Kevin Zeitler was playing at. As stated, we're going to go Amenor and DK as our starting 2 outside wide receivers. The rookies, just to see, especially if we can get one of them to catch on Amenor on that normal dev trait. If we can get him to kind of catch fire, get a breakout scenario, or off his end-of-season production off that normal dev trait, that'd be gigantic for this offense going forward. And Malcolm Rodriguez will be our starting will linebacker. Need it, because the other guy was 62 overall. So while we're here, let's get our contracts figured out. Now, Rodrigo's in a contract year. That's probably why the Detroit Lions were so willing to move on from their depth linebacker. But for us, I think, 4-year deal. Make him happy. You have so much money. Lock it in. We're going to keep Roger McCreary on a 4-year deal. This is a guy that I think has like 84, 85 upside as a starter and corner. We'll bring back Amani Hooker on a 3-year deal. That's just locking him in for the rest of his prime at 27 years old. Now, with Gunnar Helm on the roster, I did potentially view if, like, Okonkwo had very low interest, I would not overpay because we have someone up the pipeline there. But, I mean, if you wanna stay here as our tight end 1 long term, you're excited about being a part of this Joe Brady offense, let's go. Now, I'll be honest, everybody else, probably better luck elsewhere, like Diggs, Lockett. I maybe one of Baker and Womack could be worth keeping. But it's one of those things like, I think Womack's going to get on the field a lot. If one of these guys pops a dev trait at the end of the season, we'll absolutely come back before they hit the open market. You want to talk about the new era? First game of we fired the coach. Now we did, obviously Joe Brady won't come in mid-season. But cleaning house with Tennessee, we beat the Patriots, who are as hot as any team in the AFC. And player of the week goes to Rodrigo, coming over from the Lions, 13 tackles and a pick. Fitting in like a glove. Now, usually I'd be a little annoyed trying to tank and want a 2-game win streak, beating the Jags, which is an upset. Jags are playing well this year, beating the Browns. That's going to be an all-time, like, are you kidding me type game. We did earn a breakout scenario, but more importantly, a first player of the week offensively for Cam Ward in his rookie campaign. Not a great stat line, but an award's an award. And then for the breakout scenario, we get Jeff Simmons just saying, did that just say they gave him an X Factor? The amount of tackles and loss Jeff Simmons gets will determine his rewards. But did that not pop up and just say, I'm an X Factor, now let's go get more XP? Because if that's the case, I'm so happy we didn't trade him. And it is! Jeff Simmons, and I mean, he might be deservedly back up to an X Factor. Like, I think if Jeff Simmons, when I was starting this rebuild, had an X Factor, I wouldn't have complained like, maybe he should have a superstar. He's one of the best D tackles in the league. Sick! Now, the good and or bad news is we going up against playoff caliber teams. We lose to the Niners. We get absolutely crushed by the Kansas City Chiefs. But here I go at 4-11. Nothing I can do about it. We got huge upgrades for Cam Ward. He's a 75 star dev, which is probably like in line where it needs to be. But we can get the Turbo Boosters to his development for getting 27,000 XP for 3,500 yards. Again, EA, there's nothing I can do. You can't nerf it. There's no settings. You just have it. Next title update for franchise mode. Can we have the XP reward for at least the rookie goals? Rookie milestone goals. Just have it. Even if you have it, people, if I looked at this and said, wow, we got a goal, 3,500 yards, which is like a modest goal, and I would have got 3 upgrade points off of that, I would have been like, that's sick. 6, and I don't know. I'm going to say, for me personally, it's like borderline immersion break. It's not quite there because it is what it is in the game. You rebuild the Titans, you're going to look the same. It's not like I'm doing anything different, but I think it certainly can be optimized a little bit better. So I'll tell you right now, maybe the decent thing is I'm spending 6 points into strong arm quarterback. It's going to bring Cam Ward up to an 81 overall. And at no point did I get a throw power increase, which I guess, that's really what you want above all things. And at week 18, we get a couple nice late season upgrades on both sides of the ball. One, linebacker Cedric Gray, who we hope we can continue to develop. For getting 100 tackles in a season, gets 15k XP and 3 upgrade points, which we'll all put right into pass coverage. And then the Canadian Alec Eomanor, who obviously, if I can make him into a S-tier player, makes the Pro Bowl. And the week before had 8 receiving touchdowns for 1,600 points. I'm going to try my best to force feed this guy targets and make him a thing. Make him a Titan legend. So at the end of the year, the good news is Joe Brady's offense was top 5 in passing yards. And for an offense that doesn't really have a crazy offensive line, crazy run game, and we just have the number 1 overall pick at quarterback, pretty cool. Yes, the passing offense works. We got to build and fix the rest of things. Defensively, we have, a lot of work to do. Wasn't really going to set high expectations for our defense. Thought we might be a little bit better than number 30, but it's all areas that we need to go out and improve. Now, Cam Ward getting that huge XP boost, while it is valid to complain that the XP that you earn is kind of crazy, that's a real good rookie season. If somehow, some way Cam Ward can turn it around and finish 5th in yards, just outside the top 10 in touchdowns. Yeah, 16 picks is a little high. Yeah, 53 sacks is a little high. But those are really good rookie numbers for a good environment to be involved in. Cam Ward's in a terrible environment in Tennessee. We don't have a complimentary run game. We don't really have established playmakers. We need him to kind of grow with the the Amanors and DKs of the world. That's a really good year for Cam Ward. I don't know if we'll get a dev trade or anything. It'd be awesome too. But I'm very satisfied with that. Joe Brady, I think we have potential. Run game under 1,000 yards for Tony Pollard. So yeah, just Pollard's solid. We love Tony P on the channel. A backfield duo of Pollard and Spears, maybe in the right offense, would be solid, but far from having a reliable run game to take the pressure off of Cam Ward here this year. But hey, shout out Cam Ward as well with those 3 rushing touchdowns. Puts him over 30 total on the year, which is kind of like the little threshold you like to hit. The Canadian Alec Eomanor, 96 catches, 1,100 yards, and 9 touchdowns, makes the Pro Bowl as a rookie. I'm going to be very disappointed if he does not get off that normal dev trait. Tyler Lockett, the veteran, was solid. Chiga Conqua was really good for a tight end. Those are, almost 700 yards for a tight end. DK, 52 catches, 663 and 5. Tony Pollard gave us a little bit of juice out the backfield as well. So happy with those numbers. I still think we probably, in that Jeff Simmons hypothetical trade, a T. Higgins type, where we can go bona fide wide receiver 1, develop Eomanor into a legit wide receiver 2, and then maybe like DK as our splash play deep threat. Like, that could work. Plus, Okonkwo continues to develop. Defensively, we have both Hooker and Gray going over 100 tackles. I imagine if Rodrigo was here the whole year, he also would have went over 100 tackles. He had those 2 picks. We got 13.5 sacks on 12 TFLs for Jeffrey Simmons. That's exactly why I had to see a ridiculous offer come in for me to want to trade him. He is a baller. The rookie Oladeja with 8.5 sacks. That's great. The nose tackle, Devondre Sweat. Anytime a nose tackle gets 6.5 sacks on 6 TFLs, you feel real good about it. We have 2 picks Hooker, 2 picks for Rodrigo's. Definitely need more playmakers in the secondary. Wow. Marion Hampton, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Aomanor at 2, Cam Ward at 4, DK at 7. Damn. Same thing, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mason Graham wins it. Oladeja at number 2. So as we get to the end of the year, as far as dev traits are concerned, we do get a dev trait on Elik Aomanor. He's probably the only one on offense that I thought realistically should earn the chance, and we got Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know, he didn't actually get that, but hey, whatever way, whatever means possible for him to go up dev trait to continue to help with his development and to continue to try and find suitable weapons to help Cam Ward reach a very high ceiling is going to be great. So, I mean, him and DK, I think, honestly, they're good enough that, like, we don't have to reach for a wide receiver in this upcoming draft. We don't have to overpay wide receiver that don't want to in free agency. I think we can kind of wait for a time and place that if it makes sense, let's be aggressive, go get a wideout. Yeah, so that's offense. Defense, we obviously got the X Factor in season for Jeff Simmons. And no other dev traits going our way. I thought Gray probably was the only other guy that might have had a chance at getting one. Nope. So to start the offseason, we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Skoronski. He absolutely is going to be a long-term building block on the offensive line, so let's get ahead of that contract extension next year. I think elsewhere, I mean, Womack at 20, like, that's not terrible, and it gives us a little bit of cover. But he's not really interested in joining. Let's see if we can give maybe a 2-year 13. Nah, tells us to go suck it. Before we start our first free agency period, I do like to kind of go trim some fat. And I will give credit where credit's due, man. Not a lot of terrible contracts here. Like Cody Barton's probably not aging. Like, let's definitely get rid of this guy for $1 million. Mausi. And I mean, Cody Barton could go, but I mean, if you need 3 linebackers, Rodriguez, Gray, like, those guys are fine. But there is not really, like, one brutal contract. Like, Woods is kind of surplus, I guess. We can get rid of that and free up $3 million because our predominantly safeties are going to be Hooker and Winston anyways. But, well done, Titans. Not a lot of ugly contracts. So we have the money to be huge spenders in free agency, and I do think this potentially is going to be a rebuild. As you can see, our salary cap's $146 million. Where I think from our regular rebuilds, I'll carry that mantra over into our realistic rebuilds, where if we continue to just get terrible free agency roles, we will be a lot more aggressive in making sure that maybe we can find a trade that can take up some of that salary cap. There's nothing worse than going in like year 4, year 5 of a rebuild, being like, oh, we're almost over the hump, and then you look and we have like $200 million of salary cap. We are that much more undermanned than the teams that we're trying to compete against. But wide receiver, if there is a big upgrade, we'd go get it. Unfortunately, that does not exist. Offensive line, we could go BPA if that exists. And unfortunately, unless you want Taylor, Turnstile, Moten, there's not much there. It's brutal. Defensive line, nothing. At linebacker, like maybe Nakobe Dean. But I think with making that trade for Rodrigo and Gray continue to develop, we're good at linebacker. Dude, even the corners suck. Like, this true, like, Xavier Woods, who we just cut, is probably like the best free agents available. That is terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going kicker and long snapper for our first free agency period with $150 million of cap. So we hold the number 5 pick in the draft. So for our 3 focus scout positions, we got to be smart here. Now, we did focus scout wide receiver, and we have some great wide receivers. Like, maybe one of these guys falls to the 2nd round, top 5 picks of the 2nd round, and we'd be very happy to get another weapon. Like Zakaria Branch, 2nd, 3rd round. Obviously, we know Nick Harbor's a big-time athlete. Surratt for Indiana's really freaking good. Concepcion, Lemon, Tate, Boston. Brazil's a little bit of a bust there. Jordan Tyson's an absolute stud. He'd be someone we might have to even consider with our first pick. Tackle would be another one. We have Dan Moore at tackle. Like, I think it'd be worth taking a peek at Caden Proctor anytime there's a 6'7", 365 athlete that literally gets wildcat snaps at Alabama. We may need to consider that. I feel pretty decent about our offensive line. Like, we need to get all the information right now for who could be available at pick number 5. Pass rush. Let's take a look at Rueben Bain. Could potentially fall there, I would say. And then, what do we got at corner? Jamad McCoy, Delane. I mean, we might as well just get our homework there on McCoy because he is the top DB available. But take a look at the final mock draft here. We have TJ Parker going 1, Dante Moore 2 to the Jets, Lenore Sellers 3 to the Rams, Peter Woods 4, and we're going to, Rueben Bain, top 5 talent. You could be coming in a come-on-down situation there. Keldrick Falk still on the board. Jordan Tyson is still there. He's a first-round talent. We scouted Jamad McCoy. He's also a legit first-round talent. But Caden Proctor, we are our third guy there. Just a legit I think Rueben Bain's looking pretty good. Considering that was the big debate. Do the Titans last year, do they go Cam Ward, or do they say, screw it, go BPA, go edge rusher, get Abdul Carter? Maybe just kick that can down the road a little bit and get the guy that most people expect to be the top pass rusher in the league, even though we're lucking out a little bit with the Cleveland Browns falling in love with TJ Parker. But mock drafts can lie. Let's see how I'm not going to trade up. We'll take the board as it lies. But I do think if TJ Parker goes 1, we should have... There he does. TJ Parker to the Browns. Our pick of the litter. Because 2, we're not going quarterback. Dante Moore to the Jets. That's a great pick. Lenore Sellers at 3 to the Rams. McVay could probably do wonders with him. Kind of surprised maybe the Saints are sticking with Spencer Rattler. But, he's looked solid. He's looked at least maybe Kellen Moore can continue to develop him. But with the Titans on the clock now at pick number 5, I don't think we overthink it. Jordan Tyson's a great player from Arizona State. I think that's the vibes. Great player, great player, great player. Maybe better than great. Maybe potentially an elite player. Rueben Bain Jr. from Miami, 6'3", 273. We bring him in. He is going to be likely our top pass rusher. I'd be surprised if he's lower rated than Oladejo. A tackle, A power move, B finesse move, C block shed. Not a freak athlete, but look at the ratings. Elite acceleration, elite agility, elite change of direction, elite jumping, great speed. This got to be our guy. And I think it fits the storyline of the Titans from last year. Because everyone's like, if they don't go Cam Ward, they clearly are going to go Abdul Carter. And then if you're a Titans fan, you justify, if I'm not in love with Cam Ward, do we just say, screw it, we can always use a pass rush? Well, you get your quarterback. Cam Ward looks pretty damn good. And then the following draft, because the rest of the roster still sucks, you have a great opportunity to get a needle-moving pass rush. He has crazy eyes. Rueben Bain, number 3 in true value, getting him at pick number 5. We have 84 speed, 86 strength, 91 acceleration, elite burst off that line of scrimmage. So if you want the little bit of a bad news, is that it looked like wide receiver was going to fall in our lap. There were so many on the board. I did not expect the Falcons to go wide receiver. They go Denzel Boston, which is fine. Mekhi Lemon from USC was probably who I wanted number 1 at pick 37. And it's our fault for waiting. I should have been aggressive to go get him. Which means we now have, we got options. Now we do have Carnell Tate. He's a first rounder. Kevin Concepcion is also there. So Tate certainly right now would be the player to beat on our short list. We still have the top right guard available, Ernest Green, but I thought Jackson Slater played pretty well. Finished his rookie campaign as a 72. Maybe there's still more upside there. Dennis Sutton still be on the board. Overton, Howell. There's still pass rush talent available. But I think we go with Bain and Oladejo. I think at D tackle, we feel real good at that spot. I think our linebackers have upside. We have C.J. Allen there. We have Perkins, more of a hybrid pass rusher. Torian York, that'd be someone if he's there in the 3rd round. Him and Rodriguez could be nice linebacker options. But I do like our linebackers. I want to look at the corners here. Igbenuson from Ohio State, Tacario Davis from Washington, Malik Muhammad from Texas, DJ McKinney from Colorado, like Domani Jack. These are guys, outside players, which, could use I think we almost go and treat these as generated players. Which one of these guys would I want to draft? We don't have great letter grades here for anyone. BC on Chris Johnson from San Diego State. We got a BC on Malik Muhammad from Texas. C-Man A-Press from Tacario Davis. So, like, none of those letter grades are screaming draft me. What do we got here from a speed? So, DJ McKinney just didn't attend the combine. Malik Muhammad's the slowest of the bunch. Tacario Davis, anytime a 6'4", 4'46", 41-inch vertical player. That might need to be the call. We got a 4.33 on Damani Jackson as well. Big-time athlete. I think we got to trust our scouting. Because, like, none of those corners are screaming draft me. And the fact that we have still a legit first-round talent here in Carnell Tate, let's not overthink it. Carnell Tate, Ohio State, number 22 in true value at 37. Comes in. We get the dev trait, which is really probably the big hurdle there. And decent juice, 6'3", 93 speed, or 93 acceleration, sorry, 92 agility, 93 jumping, 91 speed. Has the dev trait. And I think now I'm going to look at our wide receiver room. Tate, DK, Amanor. Let's that, with Okonkwo and helmet tight end, be our skill position guys, our main pass catchers for this rebuild with Cam Court. Now going into round 3, a bunch of names that are, Malik Muhammad, even though he's slow, I would have absolutely taken him at our pick. He goes top of round 3 to the Browns. Nussmeier is free falling. We got Caleb Banks as well, kind of falling there a bit for the Florida Gators. We have still some options here at corner. I think we have to go corner. We just got to kind of pick the best guy. DJ McKinney is kind of the wild card here because he did not attend the combine. But again, if we're going off letter grades, this guy, Chris Johnson, San Diego State, has the letter grades kind of back it up. I'm not going to lie, I'm not super familiar with his game. I do like Damani Jackson, but he puts up, as much as he's like, that guy's a physical specimen, puts up some horrific tape at Alabama. Just like terrible awareness. Like Rivers is probably the best, but he's a nickel. And, do we want a couple 5'11" corners with Roger McCreary? Like Roger McCreary can play on the outside. Rivers, B-press, C-zone, D-man, elite acceleration, agility, jumping. Good speed. Let's look at McKinney. I mean, if McKinney's combine stacks up there, look, he is good. He didn't. I think we'll just go McKinney here, because he for sure can play on the outside. And what we get is 106 at 69 and no dev trait. Damn. Okay. I don't even know if he's going to be a 70. We have another third-round pick. Drew Shelton from Penn State. Looks interesting just because. I don't love Dan Moore at left tackle long-term. B-pass block footwork. Kind of a wild card for his run block. But like, if that's a C and he has B run block finesse. Third round, that's looking kind of solid. Pregnon from Oregon's also pretty good. Has the A pass block power. But see, like a lot, like center were good. But Brailsford, could be... look at the ace. A pass block, D run block. We got C and B here on Logan Jones. That could allow us to, look at that. Logan Jones, elites. I think we go him. We go best lineman available. And Mr. Jones, 62 at 95. And we get a dev trade on this absolute physical specimen. Now in the 4th round, I'm going to go with who's standing out left at corner. We have Josh Moten, small school player from Southern Miss, but he has B-zone coverage. That kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. 4.3 speed as well. Lots of elites. Man, I'm not going to say DJ McKinney's going to be a bad player, but normal dev certainly gives him, 38 in true value. We get a dev trade on Moten. Okay. I mean, honestly, we could use 2 corners in this draft. That is sick. If you use this draft class, remember Josh Moten. And by drafting Jones, it made Cushenberry expendable, so I'm going to trade back up and get another 4th round pick, sending Cushenberry to the O-line starved Houston Texans. I think we add some power to the backfield here. We have Cratron Allen, who is A, ball carrier vision, A, bracket tackle, B, carrying, And with like uncertainty, long-term voter backfield, like Tony Pollard, is he going to get a contract extension? Is Tajay Spears going to get a contract extension? Let's go get maybe a little bit slower than what we would like, but Katron Allen, 78 true value at 102. Oh my God, I didn't think it was 84 speed slow. We're going to come here and get Harkey at tackle. Looks like the best tackle available, just looking for competition at that left tackle position. And whoa, okay. Mulligan, absolute mulligan here. Kind of mulligans that don't happen when I'm trying to pick apart a Madden generated draft class. So where I said it was going to be a little bit more difficult, when we go to realistic, this is exactly what I mean. I don't have kicker and punter, so that's going to be our final two picks. We're going to go with Zavada, who is the top projected kicker, the only draftable kicker in this class. And he ends up being a first-round talent, 32 in true value. So let's take a look at our draft recap. Feel pretty good with the class. And I mean, all things considered, the ratings are not that much different from where we are when we're dominating our Madden-generated classes. But maybe the dev traits are. We get Zavada at kicker 74, Harkey 66. That one kind of stung a little bit. Katron Allen, slow as hell, but 71 rated. Josh Bowden might be one of the steal DBs of this class. 73 with a dev trait. We got Logan Jones, S-tier athlete, 72 with a dev trait. McKinney, 70 normal. Third round, little bit of a wet fire of the pick. But with our two top 5 selections in both rounds, getting Carnell Tate, 75 dev trait wide receiver, who will contribute as a rookie, and Rueben Bain Jr., 79 overall with a dev trait. Expectations very high for this draft class for the Titans, which we needed to because our free agency class was, through no fault of our own, just a terrible roll. Now, for a passing drill that's like kind of broken now, I'm not going to say it's super hard, but it's definitely harder to get gold medals. And Rueben Bain, with our first look at him in training camp, passes with flying colors. Coming out of training camp, not going to complain with Carnell Tate, Oladejo, Rodrigo, Ayamanor, and then we got a +2 for Bain and Latham. It's looking good. I will say, full disclosure, if I was trying to cheese as much as I could, I would have Cam Ward get that extra focus scouting and stuff like that. But to keep things a little bit realistic, and that +6 that he got last year, late season, for hitting 3,500 yards, I think to try to find that balance is not to try to cheese and get him as much off the field XP as humanly possible. I think that will kind of help us break even at a realistic stopping point with his career development. But for Rueben Bain's development, he already is a scheme fit, which is sick. For Joe Brady, we're just going Bills offense, Bills defense, which if this, ooh, and we got to see right there, an ability slot on the upgrade, which if you know what that's going to mean, which we'll find out probably in a week's time. This guy's an absolute stud. Now, Dallas is not the same Dallas. They're not the same OP Sim team that they were a year ago, but starting the year on the road with a win over the Dallas Cowboys, maybe this year won't be as bad as we're expecting. I'm thinking like anything around 500 would be awesome. I want to see continued development. I'd love to see 30-plus passing touchdowns for Cam Ward. But you could beat Dallas in the Sim. You could beat a lot of teams probably better than the Titans in the Sim. Dude, beat Dallas week 1, and then we go into week 2, and we put 31-17 over the Baltimore Ravens with a player of the week performance from Cam Ward. What? No shenanigans, nothing weird going on under the hood. That is impressive. Because unlike the Dallas Cowboys, the Ravens are perennial playoff Super Bowl contenders every year. Cam Ward, 288, 3 touchdowns. Our run game was complimentary. That's why we didn't just sell off Tony Pollard for scraps. We got Ayamanor playing at a high level. Is that 9 catches, $105, 2 touchdowns. And I'm actually pretty sure I have Carnell Tate in the slot right now. So that's a guy eating on the outside, which we love to see. Defensively, Jeff Simmons with a sack. Rueben Bain, the rookie, with a sack on the day. What a start for the Titans here in year 2. Oh, we just beat another NFC playoff caliber team, 3-0. Commanders are done. As we upgrade Rueben Bain, as we would have saw when we made him an 80 overall, Rueben Bain is a superstar dev trait. Not surprising, he's arguably the best defensive player in college football this year. So just after midseason on this point, I was like, I'm going to go, do we lose? We get an ugly win over the Colts, which is good because they actually beat us in our first matchup of the season to give us our first L. We then just lost on the road against the Broncos, playoff caliber team. We do have the Eagles coming out, so it'll be tough. But either way, we are playing a last place schedule and winning games against not great teams. 6-2. We have a top 10 offense, almost top 10 passing offense. Now, A little bit regressive because last year we finished with a bad team as top 5. Rush yards fine. Defense, though, massive step up. Our defense was horrific last year. As it stands right now, first against the pass, top 10 against the run. Now, for our contract extensions, we declined the 5th-year option on Skoronski because he is very much, let's just get ahead, 5 years, $68 million for a very good left guard. I think outside of that, an interesting decision in our backfield, for sure. Tony P there. I think everyone else, I mean, it's very light free agency class. I wish Spears had interest. Like, I'm going to offer him this deal and just maybe that bar's not true. No? Doesn't really want to. Maybe we have a change in the guy. Maybe we think and understand that like these are a good 1-2 punch, but maybe what the Titans need is we got to go get that Derrick Henry guy. There are sometimes big name running backs that hit free agency, or we can prioritize if there's a stud running back in the draft to try to get back to having an elite run game versus, you know, a complimentary 1-2 punch. So if you want a quick spoiler on how well Rueben Bain's playing, we still have 6 games left in the regular season, and as a rookie, a superstar rookie, just recently hit milestone goal, 10 sacks, double digits. Had a little bit of losing streak, lost like 4 of the last 5. What we do late against a team that's always playing good football late, the Pittsburgh Steelers beat them bad, 42-14, with our second Cam Ward Offensive Player of the Week, 5 touchdown performance. So at the interview number 2, we improve upon our 6-11 record in year 1. We go 10-7, get double digits. Our goal this year, like honestly 9, like you know, above 500 was kind of what we were targeting. 10-7 is right in line with that. However, the defense is the tail tape. Our offense, points per game improved. We still have the exact same passing yard number that we had a year ago. We were top 5, number 5 on the dot last year, number 5 on the dot this year. Our rush offense is complementary. Again, goes into the thinking of maybe we let both Spears and Pollard walk and try to chase an absolute game change in the backfield. Sometimes, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs hits free agency. But the defense was one of the worst. We were a bottom 3 defense last year. This year, top 10 in every single category, which I can't even get on like 90-plus rated defenses, let alone just an 83 rated one. And the icing on the top, the cherry on the top of the icing on the top is the Titans in year 2 win a pretty bad AFC South, but we are AFC South champs nonetheless. Now we got Cam Ward, 5th in yards, touchdowns, you know, plateaued a little bit. I love the fact we got about 20 sacks off the total sacks, which helps. But our goal was 30 passing touchdowns for Cam Ward, and we're going to have to look at the 2 rushing touchdowns to give us 30 total on the year. But that's, I mean, it's still good. Maybe this will be a rebuild. He never really plays like an MVP. You never know. Maybe, you know, Josh Allen took some time, and then Joe Brady came in, elevated him a little bit. Maybe the same. We need a little seasoning on Cam Ward. It's a slow cook, not a sear. Tony Pollard went over 1,000 yards. We love Tony P on the channel. We almost had 2,000-yard receivers, but Ayo Manor is a stud for us. 100 catches, 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. Just under 1,000 for the rookie Carnell, Tate, and 4 touchdowns. Just under 900 for DK. Okonkwo with 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. Very productive player as well. So, I mean, if we would have got 20 more yards and had 2,000-yard receivers and then DK and Okonkwo with those stat lines, we're over the moon with our passing offense. But overall, very happy, no complaints. Defensively, Cedric Gray leads the team with 128 tackles. From a pass rush standpoint, 14.5 sacks for Jeff Simmons, 12 sacks Rueben Bain, 10.5 for the 366, and that might be generous, pound Tavondre Sweat. And we also got 15 TFL, 6.5 sacks from Oladejo. So we're not getting any help from like secondary sources, but all of our primary defensive linemen, that is outstanding numbers and outstanding production. In the secondary, yeah, it could be better. Both McKinney and Moten are picks with the interception, and 2 picks for Kevin Winston leading the team. But low interception numbers, I'll be honest, I'll take low interception numbers with a top 10 graded out passing yards against defense. I'm not gonna lie, I think with the context of this year, Joe Brady should be higher than 5th for Coach of the Year. And once again, we are 2nd place runner-up. Offensive Rookie of the Year going to Carnell Tate. Jeremiah Love on the Chiefs wins it, and that's not a fun combination that happened. I guess for what it's worth, Mendoza, because I don't like looking at draft recap when it's real players. I kind of want some of those ratings and stuff to be surprises to you and me. Like, even though I did go in and meddle with this class, it was more so adding players, not a huge, like, let's go change all the ratings and all the dev traits. I do love the little mystery of using sports gaming roster. But we have Mendoza at quarterback. Many think he could be the top quarterback in this year's class. He goes to the Raiders. From the NFC side, okay, they get Jordan Tyson to the Panthers, Sadiq to the Seahawks, Lemon to the Saints. Norris Sellers, obviously we saw in the mock draft, he went to the Rams. Let me just look quickly at the defense. Uyunglele on the Lions, Peter Woods on the Saints, David Bailey on the Bucks. Okay, let's go back to the AFC. Look at our defensive rookie of the year. Should go, and it does go to Rueben Bain, giving us a slight chance with him already being a superstar. Sometimes when you bring home that hardware, it's a dev trade increase regardless. He could be an X factor. So we lost to the Denver Broncos earlier in the season in this battle of 10 and 7s. At least this time, it's going to be in our backyard. Home playoff game, Nissan Stadium. Can the Titans go on a Cinderella run? Let's go. Nissan Stadium, Titans, Broncos. I do think we have the defense that could give Bo Nix and company some headaches. But I would have guessed this might be a low-scoring game. Both these defenses are probably the strength, and there you go. Just like that, both offenses score touchdowns on the opening possession. Broncos hold us to a field goal attempt, but that is a lead. And another good drive here late in the first half ends up touchdown for the Titans, a 10-point lead. Denver scores first in the third. They tied up 10 straight points for the Broncos. Ooh, field goal. I mean, just too many field goals for the boys here. Minute 57. Can we get a career-defining drive to this point from Cam Ward? 157. Only need to get in a field goal range to win and get that first playoff win of the Cam Ward, Joe Brady era. We don't get nothing, but we get terrific field position. And this is going to go to overtime. Opening drive here in overtime. Denver marches down the field, gets a field goal. We can tie or win here with a great drive. And what we're going to do, we're going to go play by play. I'm not going to actually play this one. First play, 1st and 10. We get 7-yard run, Tony P. Big shot play to Chig Okonkwo, 23 yards. We are fringe field goal range. And with Jake Bates, who we stole from the Detroit Lions in free agency, he got a leg on him. We're in Jake Bates field goal range. 2nd and 10 throwaway. We get a first down. Carnell, Tate, the rookie, 11 yards. We want the win here. So that, boom, we get the walk-off. Tennessee in year 2 with Joe Brady. Cam Ward take down the Denver Broncos, send Bo Nix and Sean Payton home. And that is a statement win. Cam Ward, from where we are right now, 1 and 5. Just no help around them. We got a team here. And what was the walk-off there? I wish we could have seen it. It is a DK 23-yard pass touchdown from Cam Ward, who had an excellent day. 75% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Run game was complimentary. DK, Aomanor, and Tony P. Touchdown, Tony P. Defensively, we got a sack and a half, Cedric Gray, a sack and a half, Jeff Simmons, Barton, and Rueben Bain getting after the quarterback. We got a squad here, man. Cinderella season loading. Off that performance, Cam Ward gets Wildcard AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Rightfully so. Huge win. And then the division round, we get the Vrabel Bowl. 10 and 7 Patriots. This is, I think both these teams, similar spot in their rebuilds. Look at the Patriots, very good defense. This should be a low-scoring game. I think advantage overall should go to us offensively, even though Drake May is likely a higher-rated player at this given time than Cam Ward. This should be a close game. Maybe advantage. Titans hosting. We are at home. So I think when you think of the grand scheme of things, Patriots, with the winner of this game going to the AFC Championship game, that is not a terrible roll. Like, we have avoided the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bengals, all the team. I honestly think Jacksonville is a team that I consistently see do well in the playoffs, and led out by that man, Cam Ward, who's coming off a Player of the Week performance in his first playoff win. Maybe we can give these fans a reason to get out their seats. Great defensive play. 2 straight field goal stands, but we can't get a touchdown. Nothing but kicks here. Very boring first half. First touchdown of the game goes to the Titans. There we go. 1-point lead. New England, they just equal right back with a touchdown there. So we need to get a score, which we do. 17-19. Get the ball back quickly. Good drive here by Cam Ward and company. How do we get no points in the red zone? That wasn't a turnover. We would have went for it on 4th down and missed it. Field goal. We are up by 1. 3:29 to go. 2:12 to go. Can Cam Ward, and this is where I trust Cam Ward to kill this game off. Just 2:12, 2 first downs is all we need. We get 1, we get 2, and the Titans have won their second playoff game 20-19 over the New England Patriots. And in year 2, we are in a AFC Championship game. Mike Vrabel has a weird dent in his head. But there you go. I mean, not an overly exciting game, but a win is a win. And in this matchup, 246, touchdown, no picks, clean football from Cam Ward. Spears with a rushing touchdown, DK over 100 yards, A.O. Manor with the receiving touchdown. Defensively, Oladejo sack and a half, Devondre Sweat getting after it. No turnovers, just really an ugly game. I think the value and credit of this one goes to Cam Ward and how he managed that final game-winning drive to put it away and kill the clock. Winning ugly takes talent. And the AFC Championship game is set against the 9-7-1 Chargers. So very comparable rosters. And while we do need to certainly respect the fact that the Chargers have a top 3 offense, the number 2 passing offense, Justin Herbert is playing on another level. Broncos, Patriots, Chargers, if that has to be your AFC run and you're the home team throughout, pretty much a god roll for the Titans as far as a path to making the Super Bowl here in year 2 as an undisputed Cinderella team. And I'm not gonna lie, I would take great pride in our very first Madden 26 realistic rebuild if we could win a Super Bowl kind of sweat-free, not have to take it to the dying moments, not have to take it to year 5. If somehow this team that we've built, year 2, Rueben Bain stepping up, Cam Ward stepping up, Alec A.O. Manor, Jeff Simmons stepping up, I'm going to be pretty happy camper here. So looking for the first score of the AFC Championship game. It is a field goal to the Titans. And our defense is playing pretty good. But very low scoring, very ugly game. And it's something that we've definitely noticed throughout the Madden 26 cycle. Is usually what team can win ugly. What team can play defense in the sim wins. First touchdown of the game goes to the Titans. We're up 10-3. Chargers equalize. We respond to kick out the 4th quarter. A hell of a drive. Touchdown. Touchdown Chargers. It's kind of anything we can do, they can do. Tight matchup. We get a 3rd down, 3rd and 6 on the 27 in field goal range. But we want a touchdown, and we get a 26-yard completion. Cam Ward to the rookie Carnell Tate on the 1-yard line. Touchdown Tennessee, and we are 2:29 away from making the Super Bowl here in year 2. It's over. Oladejo with a sack on Justin Herbert on 4th down. And in year 2, it's almost too easy, but in year 2, the Tennessee Titans and their Cinderella run, Cam Ward right there, have found their way to a Super Bowl. Cam Ward, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Pick for Justin Herbert. Maybe that was really ultimately the big deal breaker and difference maker in this matchup. Okonkwo with a touchdown. Tony P. Touchdown. Tony P. Defensively, it is that man, Rueben Bain, who arguably is the most talented player in the 2026 NFL class. He's been a stud. Oladejo with that 4th down game-sealing sack. We got a turnover from Kevin Winston, and the Titans are in the Super Bowl. So take a look at the bracket. We are meeting the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. And speaking of playing defense, winning ugly, Seattle defeated the Falcons 7-0 in the NFC Championship game. What in the 1930s is that scoreline? And the 2-4 seeds, Seahawks and Titans, meet in the Super Bowl. I mean, if we're being realistic, 2 absolute shockers to be in a Super Bowl in year 2. Looking at the Seahawks, how did they get here? 3,600 yards, 28 touchdowns. Honestly, very similar stat line to what we saw with Cam Ward, except those are 58's a lot of sacks. So maybe our pass rush can heat up here. Kenneth Walker was productive, but like not, a terrifying 1-2 punch. And I could say someone in fantasy football who owns both Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. Please trade one of these guys. Receiving, JSN's an absolute beast. Cooper Kupp can still give you something. They got Torrey Horton. They drafted Kenyon Sadiq. He's one of my favorite players in the upcoming draft here out of Oregon. Defensively, we got a bunch of tackle machines, bunch of freaks of nature. Witherspoon, Woolen, Emanwari are game changers. Don't get that twisted. 15 sacks, Mafe, 10.5 from Derek Hall. You got Leonard Williams, who's still a stud. 6 picks by Devin Witherspoon. They got some ballers. Don't think for 1 second, because it's year 2, I'm not trying to win this thing. We're going to go with our best abilities that we have for our level 15 Joe Brady. Dr. Dots, trimmed edges, Island Kings, pressured posse, and sideline to sideline. Now, I'll be honest, I'm thinking win, lose, or draw. I think realistic rebuild should go 5 years, because with our other regular rebuilds, as soon as we've won a Super Bowl, it's the end. Sometimes win a Super Bowl year. I think year 2 might be some of the earliest we've done one, potentially. But like if we win at year 3, it's over. If we win at year 4, it's over. We'll go the full 5 with a chance in a realistic rebuild to become a dynasty, win a couple Super Bowls. We'll see what that man right there can do on the biggest stage of his career. Much as I do like Cam Ward, didn't really have a whole lot of success in college. Like, we talk about like when like Bryce Young was coming out. Like Bryce Young had proven success at Alabama in big time moments. Try to think of like the big time moments Cam Ward had. Few and far between. So this could be a career-defining game for him, and maybe start something very special. And it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Ugly, low-scoring game. Got to remember, man, this Seahawks team won 7-0, and they're currently winning 7-0. But we are poised. There we go, to tie it up in the 4th. We get 2 straight scores. Ladies and gentlemen, the Titans. How do we miss a 20-yard field goal? No! It's gonna go to second overtime. Okay, we're not gonna play. We're gonna watch this drive. We're gonna just play by play, try to digest what the hell is going on in this matchup. First play, we get a nice 15-yard. Call that a PI or a roughing the passer. Field goal wins it for the Titans. We missed a 20-whatever-yard field goal to win in regulation. Boom, 6-yard run. Sack. Derek Hall. Boom, shot play. The Canadian Alec Ayominor, 25 yards. Carnell, Tate, 9. I mean, in field goal range to win a freaking Super Bowl in our first realistic. This is nuts. Methodical drive. Just running it down with touchdown Tony P. Okay, I don't know the fact that we've lost 6 yards here. Boom. Okay, gain another 2. Very manageable field goal. Already shanked an absolute easy one. Second overtime, Super Bowl. I did not expect our first realistic rebuild to be maybe our most Cinderella, wow, way ahead of schedule rebuild that we've done this entire freaking thing. But I challenge anybody, Tennessee Titans rebuild. You certainly, the fact that I decided to go with Joe Brady, I went with that because honestly I think he's one of the top, like even by Vegas, like next coordinator to get a head coaching job. He's in that top 3 position. Probably had something to do with the fact that we brought Joe Brady's Buffalo Bills playbook along, I imagine. But also, like, I'm not fully putting a whole lot of stock into that because the Bills aren't always in the Super Bowl. Certainly the Bills are definitely a team that can go and make a Super Bowl, but like that's usually with Josh Allen throwing 40 touchdowns. We aren't getting that and aren't getting those Josh Allen numbers out of Cam Ward like the way you would if you, in last year's game, just put the Bills playbook here and any quarterback would play like Josh Allen. I think there's validity to the fact of like the players that we developed and the guys that we drafted, like Rueben Bain, game changer. Carnell, Tate at wide receiver, a game changer. But I did not expect when I decided, all right, we're going to do a first realistic rebuild here in Madden 26 of the freaking Titans, that we would win a Super Bowl pretty convincingly throughout that whole run. Year 2, before really any of our players, any of our core had chances to develop into like top, elite players at their position. Before we had draft opportunities and a couple big free, like we still have like $140 million of salary cap. We are that much of a disadvantage in comparison to most of these other teams that are over the salary cap, for God's sakes, and we still win it. Cam Ward, humble performance, not a crazy game. 325 and a touchdown. Touchdown, Tony P there with a touchdown. Very happy we didn't trade him. The Canadian A.O. Manor, 100 yards. Carnell Tate, second-round pick. Probably should have went in the first round. He was motivated as a rookie. 141 yards and a touchdown. He's probably the top dog right now for Super Bowl MVP. Jeff Simmons with 2.5 sacks. Devondre Sweat with a sack and a half. Oladeja with a sack. I mean, pick your poison. Jeff Simmons with 2.5 could get it. Carnell Tate could get it. Honestly, let's get them to split the award. Or actually, I don't have $130 million of salary cap. I have $178 million of salary cap. Now for our team, we're going 5 years. We got 3 more. We're going to try and make this thing a dynasty. As far as dev traits are concerned, the only dev trait gain on offense is Chig Okonkwo going from star up to a superstar, which I'll take anything that we can get there. On the defensive side of the ball, pretty light on the dev trades, honestly. We just have Josh Moten, who's a hidden dev. It is a star. And I think, really, I mean, the only guy that had an argument to maybe go up a dev trait, I think Oladeja getting double-digit sacks pretty much every year. I think Sweat, like one of these two guys could have got it. I also think Christian Gray probably, with all the tackles that he's building up, should get off normal dev as well. But we're Super Bowl champs. Can't complain. So what we're going to do is decline the 5th-year option on Latham, because we're a well-run franchise. We have so much money. Let's just get ahead of every contract. And I think there is something to be said. We have so much money. Do we try to keep like some of our backfield? I still think I like the plan. I like the challenge of trying to go find like a game changer at running back. I think if Spears had interest and he wouldn't have to overpay, I would try to bring him back, but he does not. So we're gonna look different direction at running back and maybe hopefully get, I don't know, it's this year or next year that Jahmyr Gibbs can sometimes hit free agency, because we'd be interested. Unbelievable. I'm glad we won a Super Bowl. This is already looking like a rebuild that we're gonna have to trade if we want to get something fun, because look at all these dog shit play. I mean, not necessarily fair to say dog shit across the board, but if you're not interested in a guy that's 30 years old, older than me, then you're not getting much. Like, look at our team running backs. Oh, really? No, nothing there. Other positions in need that we could look at would be tackle. Let's go. Of course, nothing at tackle at all. No. What about, feel good about our pass rush, feel good about our D-line, linebacking core. If there's like a big game changer, we have all this money. Oh, absolutely nothing there that's an upgrade. What about in the secondary? Oh, you got Marlon Humphrey at 31 years old. Like, that's the only guy that's even remotely interesting. Even then, do I want to pay? I could if I wanted to, but I think we just look towards the draft, man. Just terrible role. I mean, I don't know. It's brutal. Come on, game. Takes 2 to tango to make fun content, and you keep giving me dog shit in free agency. So for our needs, as we look at our 3 focus scouts, we do pick at 32, which means we need to kind of be looking down here in the dumps of the early second round. We need tackle. I'd say tackle is probably number 1, running back's number 2. And like someone like Horn would be sick, but he's going 14th, and I don't really want to be in the business of trading up. So I think we got, Batch is going to be in that range. Cash is going to be in that range as well. Cash with the double B's looks pretty good, so we'll take a look at him. And then at right tackle, any non-first round, we got Castro, Ortega, Weston. B and B on Castro. BC on Weston. I guess we'll do that. We'll take a look at these tackles and see if we can get an upgrade at left tackle for us on Dan Moore. And then just draft, hopefully, a easy blind pick running back at some point. That's all we really need, and a punter. And the good news from our scouting is that we got Cash at player 36, who's a first-round talent. We have Messina, pick 46, second round talent, which I'd feel fine drafting him. Weston and Castro, who potentially could slip out of the first round, both first-round talent. So it is a great year to need a tackle, a great role for us, and at least the draft is helping us out here. Free agency's not, but the draft is giving us some good roles. So with the 32nd pick, trying to look at all the tackles that have flown off the board. It's certainly has been a depleted position. Seeing, you know, number 6 wasn't even consideration. We got at pick number 17, Castro was certainly a player that we were interested in. We got Batch, Cash, Horde. Wow. That is a lot of first-round tackles flying off the board there. That's great to know. Oh, my God. They're all fucking gone? That is insane. We still have the top. We got the top running back still, I guess. Sergio Minor. I guess that's unbelievable that there was like 8 good tackles all gone before our pick. We go Minor, 34-32, dev trait running back. But that is certainly not how I want this draft to go. Not gonna lie, my draft's kind of, I'm not gonna say it's shot. My board's kind of shot though. We got linebacker potentially, Jeremiah Alexander at Mike. We're in a 4-4-2. The most common position I get duped at is fast linebackers. So I only got 20 seconds. I'm gonna leave the pressure on the clock here. Let's see if I can find maybe just a BPA DB here. If anybody stands out. We have any A tackle with, this guy's probably pretty good. Griffin has B-man, A tackle at a Notre Dame. If I'm going blind pick, let's go with you. Be all right. 88 at 64. Brutal. I mean, hey, we're due. We're due for something bad to go wrong in this Titans rebuild, and having 12 tackles go in the first round before I pick at 32. Yep. Hit our board, so I'm going to try to trade. I'm trading out here. We're going to get a future 3rd-round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers and a 7th this year to help us get our punter. And the business is just trying to find BPA, trying to find value with a UDFA grade player in Logan Parker, but he has B pass block, B run block, A impact block, 2nd best bench press. So he certainly looks like he'd be an outstanding player. He is just outside of 1st-round value, 33, but no dev trade. I'm going to look here. Trey Love, just fast running back. We're in a 4-3, 75 in true value, 128. And that's, I don't really feel like there's that Derrick Henry running back. So we've gone out and replaced our 1-2 punch, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, with another 1-2 punch. And I would have took it nicely if I didn't get screwed out of the first round here. I'm gonna get all the cheese picks that I can. Cooper Douglas, letter grades, nose tackle, cheese, everything about it. He ends up being number 11 in true value with a dev trait. And single-handed with this pick, this is if Devondre Sweat wants like $30 million, we have a successor in place. So it actually is kind of a smart pick to do. It's kind of a cool pick. Wish I went through the process. Clock was run down. I literally went for the fastest quarterback. We need a backup for Cam Ward. We get Eli Daniels, 303 in true value, so he probably sucks. But he did have a dev trait. We'll always show dev traits to help pad our draft stats and impressiveness. But 86 throw power, 85 speed, 91 acceleration. Kind of a weird-looking player, to be honest with you. So take a look at our draft recap. Pretty stellar class. Look, the hidden dev quarterback kind of sucks, 63. Got a 74 punter. A couple other guys here in the 60s. But Cooper Douglas, a D tackle in the 5th round, 77 with a dev trait. Is pretty nuts that our 5th-round pick's our best player. We got Love, 73 dev trait running back. We have Logan Parker, 75. We got Griffin, 72. And Sergio Minor, best running back in the class. 1st-round grade running back. I mean, it's solid. It's definitely not a slam dunk, but that's what happens when you win the Super Bowl. You gotta wait to pick 32 and let everyone else get all the good guys. Let's see. Who was the good guys? Any of these guys were the tackles that I was looking at. Number 1 player in the class. Whoa! Couple guards here. We had Castro, went at 17. He was on our short list. He's 79. Batch was on our short list at 18. He's 78. Weston was probably going to be our pick. 78 at tackle as well. So away she goes. So as we go into year 3 as your defending Super Bowl champions, probably needs to be said our worst, lowest rated, least impressive looking Super Bowl team that we've won so far here in Madden 26. I mean, yeah, Cam Ward, 87. We got Amanor up to an 89. We're like, been outside of that now. We're going in. with question marks in the run game. Our plan of just going and trying to find a stud running back obviously did not work out. We have like complementary players at wideout. Our offensive line is, solid to good, but far from elite. I'd love to see a Conco now as a superstar take a step up, but like generally speaking, we got Cam Ward and Amanor as like the game changers on the offense, and it usually takes a lot more than that to go on and win a Super Bowl. I think our defense though is very much a Super Bowl caliber defense. Our linebacking core is solid. Our safety core is good. Our secondary across the board is solid. Maybe could have a little bit better play at nickel, but the D-line is outstanding. Jeff Simmons, Rueben Bain, Devondre Sweat, Oladeja. We throw in Douglas, who's one of the best players from last year's draft class, and that defensive front absolutely can hang with anybody, can dominate with anybody, and we need them to step up as we look to defend our Super Bowl crown. I'll tell you what, playing a first-place schedule after winning the division last year, struggled, man. We are 4-4. Plenty of good. Our defense is still elite. Our pass game's still good. I really think that's just a big thing. Our offensive points per game doesn't really line up with everything else. So I'm going to assume that that's going to figure itself out. We are on a 2-game win streak going into the bye week. 2 games you'd expect to win against the Patriots and the Saints. But still weird, right? I definitely think that has a big part to play where we go from playing a last place schedule last year to a first place schedule this year. It certainly does make a difference. But looking at the contracts here, because of free agency, it really is like, hey, who do we want to keep and how long do we want to keep him? So we're going to get Jeffrey Simmons on a 2-year deal, lock him up for the rest of this rebuild. And I really think because of our salary cap situation, we are really put in a position that we can keep any and everybody. So we'll come with a little bit better money for Latham to get that one across the line. Again, I think even though we drafted a suitable replacement for Devondre Sweat, probably a couple $1 million, we'll get him locked in. Might as well keep some of the homegrown players that are Super Bowl champions. I like Cedric Gray at linebacker. So, and then we have to overpay here a little bit. We'll get him locked in to continue to be our Mike. He is just flirting with a dev trade increase. I think for everybody else, we're going to get a little bit younger across the board for depth, but Latham and Sweat will get their probably $1 million each, and we'll get them locked in. Kind of a forgotten player here. As we go to 6-4, back above 500, we get a Player of the Week performance and a win over the Colts, and it is DJ McKinney, who was a projected second-round pick way back in our realistic draft class from college football. He's a pretty legitimate draft prospect currently at Colorado, not necessarily the same area code as like Travis Hunter was as a DB, but he has a lot of draft buzz, has not developed at all for us. Not really a great scheme fit, but has to start this year because that third corner spot is a weakness, and real happy for him to get Defensive Player of the Week on a 2-pick day. But in his case, it's something I should highlight for all realistic rebuilds. I feel like the most reasonable way to maybe offset some of those huge XP boosts that I don't really have any control over, because you can go to your XP slider settings and nerf them, but like a lot of people don't really know how XP slider settings work. Like I'm obviously just going default for all mine, but if you adjust them, like if I nerfed all the sliders, it nerfs all the sliders for every team in the league, not just my own. So I don't know. I don't really love doing that because it just hurts everything in the rebuild. And there's no way to like tune exactly like your reward XP for hitting milestone goals, stuff like that. So what I kind of think I'm going to do as like a middle ground, and it's what I've been doing with McKinney, it's why he's literally still the exact same rating it was when we drafted him, is every player in a realistic rebuild, all of their points is going to go towards making them a perfect scheme fit. Because sometimes when you upgrade, like right there, didn't get anything to base overall. I think that's how I'm going to handle the realistic rebuilds. From an XP standpoint, everyone needs to be and will develop as a scheme fit, so it's a little bit more of a slower burn. And, I think makes maybe some of these huge XP boosts a little less overpowered if that's the approach we have for player development. But if you think I shouldn't do that, let me know in the comments. Fiddly enough, we got another prime example. Sergio Minor, our first-round pick at running back. Couldn't be any less of a scheme fit, but here we go. Getting some of that cheesy XP. Got 21,000 XP for getting 1,000 yards, which is incredibly modest. But all of our points are going to go into making him a little bit more of a power back, which, this is probably one of the worst examples because sometimes it just doesn't make sense to be power back versus like when you're going with like pass blocker or power or agile for an offensive line. It doesn't really matter. Or power or speed. For like a pass rusher that's not like a 3-4 guy. Seems like there's a lot of flexibility there. Maybe not so much in making a 200-pounder a power back. But you know what? He's going to be a 200-pounder that runs with intent. He's going to be like Cam Scatabo. So at the end of year number 3, as your defending Super Bowl champions, we get the same record where we were a year ago, 10-7. Offensively, like our rankings, we have the #1 defense in the NFL, #1 pass defense, legit rush defense, legit pass offense. Our points per game cleaned up a little bit. I mean, I think everything's kind of reasonable. We win the AFC South for the second straight year, and again, it's more of a reflection of how terrible the AFC South is. But things are pretty good here in Tennessee. Hiring Joe Brady has worked out. Cam Ward still is yet to go over 30 pass touchdowns in a season. A little frustrating, to be honest with you. Minor, the rookie at running back, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, so I feel pretty good about that. We had 2,000-yard receivers as both Alec Eomanor and Carnell Tate go over 1,000 yards. Decent season from DK and Okonkwo. On the defensive side of the ball, 3 players going over 100 tackles, led by Cedric Gray. We got 11 sacks, Rueben Bain, 10 sacks, Jeff Simmons, 6.5 from Ola Dejau. A little bit of regression there from Devondre Sweat after paying him, which is always a little bit frustrating to see. And our interception numbers continue to just not be a strength of the team. We did get 2 award winners this year. Sergio Minor, the starting running back, gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. We also, who had an up-and-down game in the Super Bowl, missing a short field goal, but kicking the game winner, Jake Bates is Kicker of the Year. So we get a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game here in the Wildcard round. Back at home, the 10-7 Titans take on the 11-6 Chargers, who have a pretty solid offense, but a pretty bad defense across the board. Let's go tighten up. Team that we just had their number. Was a close game, though, over the Chargers. Probably our toughest game until the Super Bowl of our 3, but we start out first with a nice score. Chargers tied up at 7. Trying to respond, going downfield, have to settle for a field goal that we miss. Jake Bates missing another 20. If you're missing field goals consistently and you're Kicker of the Year, let's start with a 2. Figure it the fuck out. Start out the second half with a touchdown drive. Great response. Chargers respond. Well, maybe the good news here is that it's not going to come down to a field goal miss. And the defending Super Bowl champions crash and burn in the wild card round against the Chargers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not loving the fact that it feels like Cam Ward hit his ceiling. That's very uncharacteristic. Even if he hasn't put out like a lot of great output, he hasn't turned the football over. 2 interceptions on the day. The Lions take the Super Bowl off us. At least it wasn't a team in the AFC. And for us, at season's end, we lose the superstar on Okonkwo. We gain a superstar on Minor, who was only just a star dev for our first-round pick. Pretty sick right there. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Gains a superstar dev. That helps. Defensively, as far as dev traits are concerned, we gained a superstar dev on Roger McCreary. Long-term player for us at the corner position. Everyone else maintained their dev traits. Always decline the 5th-year option on Cam Ward. We'll get ahead of that extension next season. All right, so let's get another blind disappointing reaction. We have $140 million of salary cap. We've already won a Super Bowl, so it's not like we have to plan for life with Cam Ward's contract. Get it paid next year. It doesn't really matter, even if we can't get it paid, because year 5 is going to be our final year. But we got $140, man. Jameer Gibbs out there. Is anybody out there that wants to come? Ooh. Hello. What do we have here? There's no running back role. There's no wide receiver role. We desperately need a tackle. And blank check time. Honestly, let's go. Like, start there. 5 years, $1 trillion. What? How much? How much do I need to pay you to want to join me? We don't have a big market, but we have a franchise quarterback, and you are a perfect scheme fit. So what about like 20 and like 28? And this is insane money. What's the point of having all this salary cap if we're not going to spend it? And we're still, we're going down. I'm offering you more money, and we're going down in the interest. Okay, I think our best offer is going to be 20. I'm going to go 22 salary and 30 bonus. Because even coming with that ridiculous number, we are going, like, that has, there's no way, even these other teams are coming close to $260 million. So that's a number where if I don't get them, I can live with it. So outside of that, I mean, there is secondary options. If we had to come back and pivot, I think I could live with getting Roger Rosengarten, just in case, you know, we have another situation where the draft gets deplenished. But now, you got Aiden Hutchinson here hitting the market. I feel good about our pass rush. Oladeji has been solid. Rueben Bain's a stud. But with them coming over here, and we got Edgerrin Cooper at linebacker. Like, that's certainly something I'd like to explore. See what kind of market's in on him. We're first place. And then Cooper DeJean at corner. Absolutely. I'm interested. So as far as it is right now, Joe Alt is easily the biggest one we want. We are first place. I have a feeling we're just going to, because, I mean, also we won the Super Bowl. I think we should get all of them. Joe Alt, I'll be furious if we don't get him. What are the odds right now? In the comments, how many did we get? I'm going to say 1 out of 3, even though we should get 3 out of 3. I mean, hey, Cooper DeJean's good. We needed corner. That was going to be, you know, corner or tackle. But Edgerrin Cooper went to the Raiders. We offered $260. Joe Alt, $260 million. And he took 97. Took 90. So is that per year? No, there's no way. He took, like, even if that bonus is obviously the bonus. So even if I'm reading that number as, can I look at his contract? That's unbelievable. Then, of course, Rosengarten did also sign in day one. So I also think we might be in a spot where we have to get aggressive. If there's a real nice-looking tackle, we got to go get him. We can't just sit and wait. So for our focus scouts, of course, the number 1 overall player is a tackle, because of course it is. But I'm definitely looking here at Jaden Presley. Currently picked 38, first-round talent. Where is he going in the mock draft? Because you know he's going to be getting overdrafted. And so we got Nelson. Yeah, the tackle there is going. Where's Presley? That's where we're going to go. I got to go get him. 17. So let's call the old Rams up. So to move from 21 to number 16 or 17, whatever it was, not a huge jump. Cost us a 3rd and a 6th round this year, which might be slightly overpaying, but, you know, splitting hairs at this point. We need to go get our guy. And our guy is very clearly at left tackle, Jaden Presley. Looks good. B pass block, B run block. Maybe not the best bench press that you can see, but that's why we scout him. And he ends up being 14 in true value at pick 16, and we get the dev trait. He'll be a day 1 starter for us at left tackle. Second round, our scouting's not perfect, but we do have some DB scouting, and Kareem Richard looks solid. A tackle with a B man. Don't love the fact that I'd rather someone that has better zone or a zone defense. Slot for Richard. Ugh. We got down here. Any other value of this guy? Slot as well. 2nd, 3rd rounder UDFA. I mean, it's just, I'm going to be honest, kind of a dog shit class. At this point, we'll just, you know, screw the scheme, go with best player. 51 at 53 for Richard. No dev trait. I'm not gonna lie. There's one good wide receiver left that kind of stuck out, and I'm just gonna draft him now. It's Meredith. He has A catching UDFAs that have elite acceleration tend to be pretty good slot wide receivers, and he's top 40 player. No dev trait though. So in a not crazy class, I mean, we still end up with some value here. We have our classic elite strength tight end. That's a hidden dev trait. We got a 64 normal. We got a 68 normal. We got Meredith. Normal dev, surprising normal dev, 75 rating. So that feels pretty good. Both Camarillo and Simmons were late round kind of cheesy lining picks. 73 with a dev trait. Sermon 73 with a dev trait. Literally, they might be the same guy. Richard 74 normal, and we get Presley. That's the big get. We needed to leave this with a tackle. And while he's no Joe Alt, that was clearly impossible to try to get him to come to Tennessee. Presley's probably the next best option. But it did feel like kind of a dog shit class, if I'm being honest with you. But there's some good players. 84 corner to the Niners. 83 guard, 82 guard, 80 Mike linebacker. And the tackle that, we were never going to be in play for, but there was also an 80 rated tackle in this class going first overall. Well, I'll tell you what, if we're kicking off year 4, pissed off that we couldn't defend our Super Bowl crown, how about go against Bengals, very legitimate AFC opponent, and get both the AFC offensive and defensive player of the week. That is a statement and signal of intent that this Titan team is going to be a juggernaut this year. Oh, we're rolling, man. I don't know where this offense was last year. Colts, divisional rival, right ahead of the bye week, rolling up 5 touchdowns. Cam Ward, another player of the week. Well, we're feeling pretty good at 10-2. We got a breakout scenario. Finally, we hit the breakout scenario with Jeff Simmons becoming an X factor, and then it's just been nothing. And there we go. I love the fact that now it's like they just throw the scenario while they already give you the dev trait. It's no longer like, I'm going to pick a challenge. So now we got DK up to a superstar, which is weird that DK got superstar before Amenor. DK's clearly been like our third receiver, but I'm a fan of whatever update they decide to make where I don't have to always like pick the goal, sim the week, see if we hit the goal. They're just like, hey, random news story about a breakout. I'm a superstar dev now. I'll take that. But we got to look at some contracts. It doesn't really matter because next year it is what it is. But we'll get Cam Ward $215 million. So we can at least say we did a Titans rebuild where we paid and kept some of our players here. And maybe it's a good thing we didn't get Joe Alt on that insane, absurd contract because now we're going to be able to retain pretty much all of our dudes. We're close on Oladejo. We definitely want Kevin Winston to stay here. 3-year, $32 million locked in. DK getting that dev trait, looking pretty good. Got him locked. So, yeah, honestly, if we would have signed Joe Alt, we would have technically, in lore, lost, some of our integral players. Hooker is probably replaceable at this point, at that price point. But we'll get Oladejo back for year 5 for sure. And then we'll probably have a very light free agency class next year. So kind of a bizarre end here in year 4. We go 13-4, far and away our best record in this rebuild. 3 wins better than our previous best. Our team's developing nicely. Look at those ratings. Number 2 offense, top 10 passing offense, number 1 defense, second in pass yards and rush yards. Now, it's very annoying that we're matching them against the Ravens in the first round because they're very good, but we're 13-4. Like, why did we not have the first round bye? Well, we didn't even get a divisional title. The Jags go 14-3 and end our 2-year reign as back-to-back AFC South champions. But something clicked offensively because we had 3 straight years of under 30 passing touchdowns for Cam Ward. We just stuck with it, and we got 4,000 yards. We got 38 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. We had 2 rushing touchdowns, which gives him a 40 bomb on the year. Sergio Minor, the reigning, defending offensive rookie of the year, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. Very happy with that. Amenor goes over 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. Carnell Tate just under 1,000, but he did get double-digit touchdowns. And then DK, out of nowhere, getting a superstar dev, had like kind of the years that he's had this whole rebuild. I ain't going to complain, even though I think in these scenarios, if you're just going to randomly generate a free dev trade increase, probably should go to Amenor, who's 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons and hasn't really had any scenarios or opportunities yet to go up dev trade. But again, not going to overly go. I'm not going to die on that hill. Defensively, Cedric Gray, probably the only other player. I think him and Amenor are 2 guys that kind of got robbed of dev trade increases or even just breakout opportunities. He continues to be a tackle machine, plus 4 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 3 picks. We got 19 sacks from Jeffrey Simmons, 16 sacks from Rueben Bain, 12 from Oladejo, 5.5 from Douglas, with 3 picks, Cedric Gray leading the team. Only 1 from our big free agency get here in Cooper DeJean. Yearly awards, Cam Ward with his best finish in MVP voting, coming in at number 4. Interesting. I wonder if Aiden Hutchinson being like a $1 trillion free agency signing has anything to do with the Jags being as good as they are. And no award winners. The closest one that we had was Cam Ward being runner-up for best quarterback in the AFC to Patrick Mahomes. I'm not loving it, man. This is a brutal matchup for us to try and find a way to go on a run here in year 4 and get back to a Super Bowl. But our team's very good. We're not the same old Tennessee Titans. I think we can go on the road and get a good result here. Oh, great. Yep. Probably the worst team to play in a rain game. Lamar Jackson already feels like you're trying to tackle him in the rain. That is, hey, we got the number 1 defense for a reason. Let's see it. Let's figure out how we solve the Lamar Jackson in the rain problem. And we're down 10. Good drive there to end the first half to get points. But man, oh man, defense is not giving us a whole lot. We're down 7, and it just feels like can't get the stop when you need it. Look at that right there. Boom. I mean, that's, our rankings are good. Baltimore's rankings were good. That's not like we're playing some team that's like barely above 500. We took on a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the wild card round. And since we have won our Super Bowl, we've gone 0-2 in the playoffs. At least this time around, I don't think it was because Cam Ward kind of sold us out. He, far from it. We just could not stop Lamar Jackson. Cam Ward, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Run game was not existent. I mean, when you're in a rain game, you really need your run game to offer you a little bit more. I mean, the Ravens didn't do a whole lot. They did have 3 total rushing touchdowns, but it's not like the yards were crazy there. And Minor, as a weapon, had 100 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. But, I mean, that's just a rough out, man. 2 really good teams. No shame in losing that, but we have just gone nothing but after winning the Super Bowl, which kind of sucks. Guys, at least the Ravens didn't go on to win the Super Bowl. Go Birds. And good news for us. Well, we saw DK get that dev trade in season. Don't know what A.M. Manor does, to not get any scenario. But Cam Ward, outstanding year, 40 touchdowns, breakout year. Joe Brady finally working his magic. He gets his superstar dev, and maybe, just maybe, that'll be enough magic to get us one more Super Bowl as we go into year 5. Defensively, kind of more the same. Like Oladejo, Bain, kind of just like stuck in their dev trades. Cooper DeJean, nothing. We did actually finally get one on Gray. He goes from normal up to a star. He's been incredible in this rebuild. But, we're going into the free agency. We have about $40 million. So if there's, offensively, we're probably pretty good. All right, I'm not seeing any weaknesses here. Defensively, maybe a linebacker, maybe a free safety like Hookers. We're letting him walk. Like linebacker, safety would be the 2 positions. But other than that, man, we're not a super team, but we're ready to go. We'll take a little peek here at a free agency. Couple, veteran win now type players. But for us, we need like maybe a guard. I mean, we could come back to Landon Dickerson potentially. We need a linebacker if there's a really nice one. You got Stutzman. Again, of course, 0 interest, which kind of sucks. Free safety would also be. We could reunite the exciting whites. I mean, not a huge discrepancy. You know what? Let's bring that. That's a Super Bowl winning duo. Exciting whites. Reed Blankenship. Cooper DeJean. Let's go. So we go to this draft. Need one thing. Need a linebacker. Can we find one? Well, we have a couple first rounders here at outside Sam. We did scout middle linebacker. We have Addison Bayless, who looks pretty decent. Not crazy. Would love to be that like an outright first round talent. Didn't get much value here on Joey Valdez, who had the A-man A-zone. So I think Bayless is probably going to be our top target. I don't think he's going in the first round. Let's double check on the mock draft. Oh, he is. He's going at 29. Well, he's going at 24. So with pick 24, it's a faux pas position. It's still always, we just did it in our Raiders franchise, drafting a linebacker early. Feels weird, but when they're good, they tend to be pretty damn good. And wow, okay, maybe not. Addison Bayless, number 36 in true value at 24. But at least we get a dev trade to go with that, and he will be a starter for us day 1. 87 acceleration, 87 speed. Decent look at tight end here in Trevino. A run block, B deep route running, elite strength. A lot of winning combo. We got to replace Gunnar Helms, kind of been our backup tight end and fullback. And I think that, the best blocking tight end That is a top 30 player. Certainly is going to fit the bill, but no dev trait. Wow. Kind of low strength as well. I'm not going to lie, this is really the last player on my board that I want to draft in the 3rd round. Chip Whiteman, A pass block, A impact block. We got elite change of direction. Bench press could be better, but you know me. If I'm drafting a lineman, blind picking, give me someone that has an A either in run or pass. And Whiteman, number 43 entry value at 88 with a dev trait. Kind of weak though, 83 strength's a little low for a guard. So take a look at our draft recap. Well, I felt decent about our first 3 picks. Looked pretty decent with our first 3 picks. Rest of the depth, I mean, I didn't love the rest of the class, but 74 dev trait, 75 normal, 75 dev trait, hit on a linebacker overall for the class. We do have a couple players in the 80s, a running back and a tight end that both went within the top 10. A 79 fullback was the 3rd best player in the class. So as we go to year number 5, this is it. This is going to be the team that is going to find a way to win us our 2nd Super Bowl in 5 years. We now have an end of this year with a superstar, Cam Ward, superstar in minor. Amenor is a 92. Offensive line across the board. I think we could probably say probably a top 5 offensive line in the AFC. Probably a top 10 offensive line overall. There's no real weakness on it. It's not an S tier. Would have been nice to get Joe Alt, but you know, I feel pretty good about everything we got going on here offensively. Defensively has always been the strength. And we went out, we got the exciting white partnership, Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean. The linebacking core is looking solid with Bayless here. Bayless will start for us at Sam linebacker. You know, yeah. I mean, as long as this defensive line doesn't regress and we can still count on these guys to get us 30, 40 sacks on the season, we can count on Cam Ward to be like he's now a guy that's going to be flirting with 40 touchdowns in a season. I think we're looking for another 12-plus win year. And hopefully we can finish out with our 3rd AFC South Championship. And a first-round bye would be nice. We're in a great spot at midseason. 6-1 on the year and an outstanding game. 5 touchdowns, almost 350 yards from Cam Ward. How things ends up in year 5, we go 14-3, our best record of the rebuild. The ratings are almost all green, which we feel great about. And we get back on top. We're the first time in the rebuild. We are the 1 seed in the AFC, just beating out the New York Jets. And we are back on top for our 3rd AFC South title of the rebuild. Look at Cam. Holy shit. 50. What? Where did that come from? 2 years ago, he's getting 28. We are the exact same. I'll show you. Just, yeah, you know, proofs in the pudding. Now, if you're going to come and bitch and complain, the one maybe, no, I'm not going to say valid argument, but like I think if you're looking for an offensive coach, which I think the Titans should continue to do with Cam Ward, I think Joe Brady should be a top name. So literally, I was like, all right, if I'm hiring Joe Brady, we're just going to casually go. And we know from last year's game, Bills. Maybe not so much the Bills' offense. Bills' defense was a really good play, but probably my favorite defense in last year's game. Like, that's all. I'm just Bills. Everything. Scheme is Bills. Everything is Joe Brady and the Bills. It was Joe Brady and the Bills when we were throwing 28 touchdowns. It's Joe Brady and the Bills when we were throwing 50 touchdowns for Cam Ward on 4,800 yards. Our run game was on point. Pass game, 3,000-yard receivers. DK, holy shit. The superstar out of nowhere, 1,300 yards, 18 touchdowns. 12-7 for Tate, 11-11. And Amenor's our slot guy. He was getting the easy targets. That's why he's 104 catches. So that is outside playmaker right there from DK. Wow, where was this the previous 4 years? Defensively, Cedric Gray had a huge year. Our pass rush stayed on point. Oladejo, 17 sacks, 13.5 Jeff Simmons, 13 from Rueben Bain. Cooper Douglas getting involved. And in the secondary, the exciting White, DeJean with 3, 4 with Gray, McCreary with 2. Just across the board, outstanding numbers offensively and defensively for this Titans team. Icing on the cake, Cam Ward wins MVP. Coach of the Year goes to Joe Brady. We got DK as runner-up for Offensive Player of the Year. Cam Ward is Quarterback of the Year. DK is Wide Receiver of the Year. Man, that is insane, dude, his breakout. Honestly, it's like the computer was telling us something, giving us that weird, hey, DK got a superstar dev randomly. We just had to give him a shot. So here in the divisional round, we take on the 9-8 Buffalo Bills. Still have a 99 overall Josh Allen, a 97 overall James Cook. But I think right now, very easy to say with the year that we had, Titans are Super Bowl favorites. Anything less than at least appearing in the Super Bowl is going to be an utter failure. As it's year 5, because we already have a Super Bowl in the bank, I'll play some offensive moments here. I'm thinking if things get a little dicey, we can hop in, maybe help the boys out. Opening drive score, Tennessee. Decent looking drive there, but it stalls out. Buffalo ties it up at 7. They got a lot of momentum. 2 straight touchdowns for the Buffalo Bills. And I think this team needs us to kind of break glass in case of emergency. Down 10. What kind of play can we hit? Of course, it's a freaking rain game. So I'm sure there's going to be a weird slip or two. But let's see what we can get. We got Dike in the slot. The MVP quarterback takes a weird snap because, of course, we take a weird snap and we can't even get the throw off. Love the rain games. Love it. Just love it. Empty slot. That should be DK on a slant. We have A.O. Minor. Corner of the end zone should be a play.
18 Cardinal. 18 Cardinal. Ready?
We go right to DK. Move the chains. Clean game so far from Cam Ward. Don't really want to run it, but we will try. We drafted a superstar running back. Maybe that's what they need. And what they need is literally there was 2 guys waiting for our running back behind the line of scrimmage. Okay. Pulling teeth here. 2nd and goal on the 6. We're going to send Tate in motion. Look at that guy. So offside. Thank you, Madden, for... And, of course, can't get him to bite offside. Takes 9 fucking years to snap the ball. And we're probably going to throw... Okay, everything's weird. Everything... And now, I'm going to give myself credit. I am playing with my screen is my capture, so there's like a half-second delay. It's not like, I'm going to use that as my excuse if we can't get this in the end zone. But there we go. Nice little mesh across. And we pull one back. What can our number 1 defense do? Oh, we get a turnover right away. And we will come in on 3rd and 10 and see if we can punch this one in. Let's go. Again, something mesh. I don't want to turn it over. I will take gladly the field goal and tie this game up in the 4th. We'll go slants to DK, and that should be in. On the 1. No, all right. Well, we'll take the points. 21-17. Of course, Buffalo scores pretty quickly. But we also score. We got a 4-point lead with 1:21. We have the number 1 defense in the league. And they prove it. 28-24. The Tennessee Titans are back in the AFC Championship game. A clean performance by Cam Ward. Another disappointing end to a season for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, who played for, as much as I like to, there's always going to be Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen with the stats, Jalen Hurts with the wins. Josh, there's usually an argument to like when like a good player like that, like Peyton Manning, for example. Peyton Manning was elite, but his playoff was kind of pedestrian. Like Josh Allen's playoff numbers are pretty ridiculous. I don't know how he doesn't have a ring yet. But Cam Ward, clean game, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks for our MVP. Now in the AFC Championship game, we get a Jets team that, holy, how have they built that? 91 overall with the 92 offense, 91 defense. They have the number 2 defense overall. Offense is kind of middle of them all, but I want to go get a look at that roster. That is an outrageously built computer team. So they got Dante Moore, quarterback out of Oregon. Love that move. Breece Hall, obviously, is in the high 90s. You got Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson. Offensive line is probably pretty good. Vertaker, Membu, Fashanu, all in the 90s. Defensively, you got any freaks? Got any studs? Quentin Williams still playing at a high level. Will McDonald's there. Jermaine Johnson. They've kept all those guys together. They still have Sauce Gardner, even though his production's fallen off a cliff. But I don't think, man, anyone's stopping us. I will be playing a little bit offensively if they need the help against a very good Jets defense. Dante Moore marches down the field, opening drive, touchdown. Cam Ward, the MVP, needs to respond. And that's what we do, 7-7. Jets score. Can we score? We don't even get a chance to come in and try to score. Come on. I'll help you out. 4th and 4 on the 42. That's got to be a go. The long field goal. We're at home. We'll send A.O. Manor deep. And we got the... Had the running back. Till we didn't. Okay. How do we miss... Why did we miss a... How do we miss? Let's go try and get the lead here. How are we missing field? Like, this Jake Bates guy, the most inconsistent good kicker. Get on Conquo there. Good shot. Low. I mean, you can't have an MVP in a gotta-have-it game at home, have 153 yards going into a game-winning drive situation. That's just not good enough play by our best player. There we go. It's looking coverage sack. Nothing there. Not a lot of experience with this playbook. Not going to necessarily say that that's going to be my defining excuse, but DK, like, it almost feels like, why is my running back running like my best routes? And there we go. We get one of the worst animations in this game. 3rd and a mile. Down 8. And this is just, it's not a speed team. DK has our best speed. We don't have a lot of that, like, cheesy, like, X got separation there. Diving drop by our 90-some. Yeah, again. That there could be, never had a breakout scenario. Maybe if Amanor had some abilities, he'd make that diving catch. So we are 4th and a mile. Game on the line. Who wants to make a play? The Jets. Terrible fucking blocking. I did 5 passes, and 3 of them was like insta-shed someone in our lap. So, unfortunately, my team pissed down their leg. Didn't want to beat the Jets. Saw a team that was pretty talented. And, yeah, pissed down their leg. Fuck! How is this a stat line for an MVP quarterback with 50 touchdowns? 47% completion percentage? Dog shit. I guess the Jets at least didn't win it in an all-New York Super Bowl, which would probably be brutal watch for most people. Now, as we like to always do in our rebuilds, let's get a little career recap of what our players were able to accomplish within that 5-year period. Cam Ward has a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl win, a league MVP here in year 5, and also in year 5 got a Superstar X Factor. 21,000 yards passing, 173 touchdowns, and 53 picks. He was awesome, and he probably played his worst game in that loss against the Jets, but you can save Cam Ward. You absolutely can save Cam Ward. And with the Titans firing their head coach, by all means, a Joe Brady. And bringing a Joe Brady offense can work. But there's probably a bunch of other options out there that would work. But it's nice to see, because I can tell you from a sim standpoint, just seeing Cam Ward stay with the Titans, like in our Raiders franchise, keep tabs on him, not good, not great. So maybe it's going to be, the future is bright for Tennessee, moving on from literally a coach, probably the least known. I guarantee if you brought up even to like a smart football fan, do you know who like Brian Callahan is? They'd go, no idea. No, that's the head coach of an NFL team. So maybe it's a good thing that he's gone. Minor, our first round pick, was solid. I mean, 3 years pretty much gives you 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. And for a pass-heavy offense, that's real good production. Just under 5,800 yards and 49 touchdowns for A.O. Manor, an absolute stud. 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns for DK, who got a super, like, just immense out of nowhere development. Gets a random, dare I say, unjust superstar dev scenario last year. Put him this year, 18 touchdowns, becomes an X Factor. Bizarre. Okonkwo was solid. Carnell Tate was solid as well. One of our big draft picks from that year one realistic class. Defensively, Cedric Gray, just under 700 tackles. On the sacks front, we have 52 sacks from Rueben Bain, 50 sacks from Oladejo. Unfortunately, Jeff Simmons retired, so we can't look at his numbers in production, but he was an absolute stud. Probably our best player, probably the pound-for-pound best player throughout every year in this rebuild. He must have been close to 100 sacks on the year. That sucks that he just retired. For our defense, Gray, 9 picks. That was probably the only downside, I think, of this rebuild, was defensively, even though our pass defense was as good as any other team we've ever done, interception numbers, for whatever random reason, just weren't there. So with that being said, fellas, that is going to do it for our first Madden 26 realistic rebuild of the season. Ooh, look at that white man. We drafted a superstar dev guard. Didn't even use him this year, but this is our first rebuild. It was successful, right? We get the check mark, winning that Super Bowl way back in year number 2, but an absolute bummer that year 3 was one and done in the playoffs. Year 4 was one and done in the playoffs. Year 5, with the best team in the league with an elite MVP Cam Ward at quarterback, we still fall short and can't even make a Super Bowl. So it's tough. Tennessee is a very difficult rebuild, but I hope watching this, you guys get some ideas. You guys find some players that you can keep and develop, right? I said right at the beginning of the preview, Skoronski and Latham, they should stay. Okonkwo, Eomanor, Dike, they should stay. I think we can work with that, right? And then we kind of supplemented other options. Got a stud running back versus like kind of paying and keeping with the Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. That worked out. Defensively, even if you want to take this team over as a fire sale, I would not get rid of Jeffrey Simmons. He is worth his weight in gold. A consistent from a defensive tackle, double-digit sacks is absolutely ridiculous. Gray can be a baller at linebacker if you give him a chance. Ola Dejow is an absolute stud. Winston is a great player to grow and develop. Definitely need to kind of facilitate. Hopefully, if you use these realistic classes, hey, a Rueben Bain selection would certainly go a long way. But what I need from you guys is, if it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, leave a comment in the comment section below what team you guys want to see as our second Madden 26 realistic rebuild. And if you have no suggestions, just want to help out the channel for the YouTube algorithm, a like and a comment for the algo is also very much appreciated, so everybody around the world that watches Madden stuff knows that Madden 26 realistic rebuilds are here and will show up in their suggested video feeds. But that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace. I love ya. Have a good one.